having a nonpartisan primary where all candidates, regardless of party, are on the same ballot. All voters, regardless of their registration, get to participate, and you just choose your favorite candidate. What we propose statewide is a open primary where the top 5 vote getters move through to the general election, and then you would use ranked choice voting with those 5 candidates to choose the winner with the majority.
Welcome back to Around the Districts podcast, where we bring conversations to you with the people shaping our communities, districts, and the future of Arizona. I'm Gabrielle Mazar.
I'm Nicole Brown.
And joining us today, we have Kazz Fernandes, a systems engineer turned voting reformer, leading the charge for Voter Choice Arizona to bring ranked choice voting and better ballots to the Grand Canyon state. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. So let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about you and what exactly brought you to lead the charge for ranked choice voting.
So kind of we were talking a little bit before we started filming. I used to be an engineer. I studied biosystems engineering, biorenewable resources, and my dream was to make algae biofuels, a thing that we were putting in our cars. And I guess along the way, I got into political organizing, started volunteering, and then eventually started working in this area. Before my current role, I was working as a national organizer on ranked choice voting. And early pandemic, that gave me a really good picture of what's going on across the country, how many different election systems we have, and how difficult it can be to try and improve them. But yeah, that really gave me a good high level picture of a lot of the types of election systems and tools to improve them that exist throughout this country.
So from an engineer, what you said you were studying what again?
Biosystems engineering and biorenewable resources. Yeah.
Okay. And
So-
from that into organizing ranked choice voting.
It's not a conventional path.
Quite different.
But
Yeah.
did someone say, hey, take a look at this? And then you're like, light bulb, this needs some help in this area.
It wasn't really that someone told me to take a look at it. It just, everything is political. I've always felt that. And I'm always the frustrating person at a party who's like
Asking too many questions.
asking a lot of questions. I used to always be talking about the news, national news, and what's going on with folks in Washington.
We understand that.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like an armchair quarterback. I was talking a lot about something that I wasn't really participating in, other than voting, and so I wanted to use more of my time to help better the community around me, and actually get involved in politics a little bit, but not as a candidate or elected.
Is your background, like family-wise, was voting, being involved in politics a little bit, a community, was that part of your family growing up?
Yeah, so my family, my mom's a Black woman, my dad is an immigrant, and my dad didn't have citizenship; he had to earn it, and so it was always really important that we were participating in our electoral process. I think I have pictures of myself from 5th grade. I was like kind of a America nerd, or I had like flag pins and stuff like that on. So I always thought democracy was a pretty cool thing. The idea that any of us could, through to our democratic institutions, get the opportunity to lead was pretty amazing. And we have a responsibility to participate and also hold those elected accountable.
Yeah, I always have that with being a Black American. I'm always like, people die for my right to vote. And
Exactly.
always I have to vote. I don't care what it is. And everybody who looks like me that doesn't vote, I'm like, then don't complain.
Mhm.
Because I just feel strong. Like that's how my family was too, right? And we were growing up and I was like, we have to do this
Yeah.
because people die for our right to vote. So
Absolutely. My grandma reminds me of that all the time. Whenever we talk about politics, she may be a little bit more glued to the TV watching the news and focus on other issues, but she is never going to miss an election. It's it's her right, and we weren't always given that right.
right. Is your dad concerned? since he's an immigrant, about what's
Uh,
happening now in the
he's
United States?
he believes in our country, and he believes that everything will work itself out. We're more concerned for him. You know, he's been an American citizen my whole life, but I don't know.
I don't, I
We're
don't
in
think that matters.
unprecedented. Yeah, we're in unprecedented times, and who knows? So,
Is your dad Hispanic?
no, actually, my dad is Pakistani. He's
Okay.
from Karachi. My grandparents are from Goa in India,
Okay.
and so yeah, I get that question a lot. My name is Kazz Fernandes. It's a Portuguese name, and that's just from Portuguese colonization of Goa.
I dug all the way deep in your history.
That's all right. I guess that's why we're here.
You also co-founded BlackNet AZ to connect and empower Arizona's Black leaders. So how do you feel that helps with community building and equity and election reform, and how do those overlap with your work with
Yeah.
voters in AZ?
Absolutely. So when I co-founded BlackNet, I was working full time at Voter Choice Arizona, and I didn't really have a lot of time, but I really wanted to see more collaboration in the Black ecosystem, the Black nonprofit ecosystem. It seemed I noticed we have a ton of Juneteenth events, and they all have like 25 people attending them. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to increase collaboration, have everyone actually know what everyone else does, and bring more resources into the community by kind of merging a lot of those efforts. And so I started off just trying to bring people together and saying, you know, I do some fundraising, I'll help us find a little money to have a program. And then it turned into me being in charge of what became BlackNet AZ. That organizing, community building, it's really natural for me. Like I said, I kind of founded BlackNet on accident on the side. But I think it's so important, especially in this time when a lot of us don't feel safe. To your point, if you're Black, brown, or woman, all of our rights are being threatened. All of our safety is being threatened, and whatever happens with the federal government, I think we need to be focused on what's going on locally and on taking care of our, you know, cliche, but taking care of our neighbors, getting to know them, and making sure that folks lose their jobs, or if folks are feel like they're physically in danger, that we're able to look out for them, because we don't know, it could be us next.
So those Juneteenth events, they've grown quite a bit from 25 people, especially I can speak for Tempe in particular.
Yeah.
So,
Tempe has a pretty great Juneteenth. We had our Juneteenth family reunion. It's in its third year. We just had it last month, and throughout the few years that we've been doing this, I think we've had 5,000 people come through our doors. Our U.S. senator, plenty of elected leaders, and it's taken off dramatically from a population. Black Arizonans are 5% of the state, and so we don't really see as many of the resources, as much representation. And I think a lot of us are transplants, and so it can be difficult to like find community, to find out, you know, who does certain types of work or certain types of organizing efforts. And so bringing everyone together and celebrating our culture, and, you know, radically imagining our futures has been amazing. And I'm glad to see our Juneteenth event grow, and the other ones around the valley grow as well.
Well, and then also, I think I saw in the news a few months ago that Black Americans moving to Arizona is growing quite a bit. So the
We're the
community,
fastest growing demographic.
yep, in Arizona right now. And so I
Yeah.
think that we're seeing more participation because of that as well. And there's an opportunity
Absolutely.
voting wise for us to get more people involved.
Yeah.
Do you
And
find more support in the community as well, as you go out and talk to voters and talk to people and go around talking about, you know, voter initiatives and better
Mhm.
ballot, stuff like that? Do you find more support in the community as you talk to people and
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't really the intention when we founded BlackNet, but we do educate on ranked choice voting as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty natural because I'm I'm there. and at the Juneteenth family reunion for the second year in the row, we had a chicken wing competition, which, we had 5 competitors, and how will we decide a winner with a majority? Ranked choice voting. And so everyone got to use ranked choice voting to decide the winner, and we got to, give out a trophy.
I wish
And then
my
we had
husband would have known that.
oh,
Chicken wings.
he's welcome to come out next year. And we had a banana cream pudding competition as well, and we did the same thing. So we gave people hands-on experience with ranked choice voting, educating them, and I think everyone had a great time.
So you're testing out
Yeah.
ranked choice voting just in average community activities.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. So what's the mission of Voter Choice Arizona and Better Ballot Arizona?
Yeah. So the 2 organizations, Voter Choice is our C3 charity, and Better Ballot is our C4. We use it as our campaign vehicle for local and statewide work. And our mission is pretty simple: to give voters more voice and more choice for better governance and better outcomes. And so we do that with various election reforms. Kind of the key ones that we focus on at this time are ranked choice voting, open primaries, and equal ballot access. In the past, we've also done a lot of work to defend direct democracy, defend Arizona's citizen initiatives as they've come under threat from attacks by the state legislature.
So open primaries, what does that look like? What do you mean by that?
So open primaries, if you've voted in local elections everywhere except for in Tucson, you've already done open primaries. So, having a nonpartisan primary where all candidates, regardless of party, are on the same ballot, all voters, regardless of their registration, get to participate, and you just, choose your favorite candidate. What we propose statewide is a open primary where the top 5 vote getters move through to the general election, and then you would use ranked choice voting with those 5 candidates to choose the winner with the majority.
Got it. So that's what you guys are working towards.
Yeah, so that's our long-term vision is to amend the state constitution to adopt final 5 voting. That's what we call that combination of reforms. So we have open primaries so that even the 35% of independents that are in this state can participate in those primaries, and those primaries are often the decisive races in the state. 8 out of 10 races are not competitive, so the primary is the only race that matters. And so allowing more participation can help improve outcomes and involve more votors. So having open primaries and then ranked choice voting in general.
So are you getting support from legislators, or are you getting a lot of pushback from folks who are currently in office?
Yeah, so it's funny, that's kind of changed over the years. When I first started this, we had a couple of senators that were willing to push forward RCV legislation, but the party as a whole, the Democratic Party as a whole, wasn't ready to go there yet. They thought they were going to take a majority, and they could consider it later down the road. More recently, they've been far more supportive. A lot more of them want this reform. I think partially because of the popularity of it and awareness of it nationally. A lot of folks have been hearing about what's happened in Alaska, about what's been going on in New York City for their mayor and city council races. And so I think there's a lot more of an appetite to adopt it through the legislature. But the Democrats don't really have the majority, and so they're not going to be able to pass that policy legislatively at this time.
I think there's a lot of fear with ranked choice voting, that especially with, we're going to get into Prop 140 later, but especially with kind of how the ranked choice voting will go, and, on one party or another, that if you do ranked choice voting, that only one party will get in and it'll stay one party. But I think that people don't really understand it or how it works. But like you said, with like the chicken wings and the banana pudding, like we do ranked choice voting all the time. Like in my notes here, I have like Netflix. If you watch Star Search, the new Star Search, not the old Star Search from the 80s, but like if Star Search, that's ranked choice voting. You rank your first to fifth favorite, right? We do it all the time. And, here, when we do the primaries, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you can vote in the primaries, but if you're an independent, you can't. And we're more than a third independent. So
Yeah.
independents can't vote for a candidate. So I think, like, how do you demystify ranked choice voting to people that don't understand it, or to the legislature, that how do you talk to them and say, like, the people want this? When I go out there and talk to voters, they want this because they want to be able to voice their opinion in primaries and the general election.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as demystifying it, I think the best way to do it is just for folks to try it. It's like you said, we do it all the time. If we're sending our partner out to pick up Chipotle, we give them a first option, and if the beef is looking a little too dry, go with the chicken, right? We always have a backup choice, and it's kind of odd that we don't get that in our elections. So we do a lot to educate people across the state. At our meetings, presentations, we try and partner with other organizations to help them improve their elections. Arizona Young Dems have been using ranked choice voting for their executive committee elections for the last 2 years, and really just trying to make it fun. Elections are not always the most fun, and so incorporating it into like chicken wing competitions, or if someone has a house party and they want to rank salsas, or I make hot sauce, and so rank my different hot sauces. So that's kind of how we try to demystify it. As far as working with legislators, we've been around since 2020. We've been growing. We were growing steadily, and now we're kind of growing exponentially. And so we have a lot of support just because we've been capturing all the folks that say they want to support us, support ranked choice voting, that say that they're ready, and we kind of use that as proof when we speak to legislators or other folks that might want to support our efforts.
How would it change campaigns if you had like voters or candidates who supported it? How would it change?
So it's so I think that's a really great question. How we talk about systems reform, and that might be scary because you may not have used those systems in the past. And I think the question should be, how are we modifying incentives? So right now, if you're an incumbent, your motivation is to get reelected, and that might not be compatible with the voters' wish to get policy passed and for you to serve them. And so oftentimes voters, candidates will really appeal only to their small partisan base that shows up in primary elections. And once they make it through the primary, it kind of doesn't matter what the general election voter cares about. The candidate will be elected regardless. So aligning those incentives with ranked choice voting, one of the things that we see is more positive campaigning. Candidates can actually focus on the issues because in our current system of elections, we're oftentimes voting against the worst option instead of voting for the best option. And I think talking to a lot of folks who've run for office, that's a thing that really frustrates them. Talking to electeds, that's a thing that frustrates them. They didn't run for office so that they could lob insults at people. They ran for office because they wanted to improve policy on housing or healthcare, or energy. And the election game changes their incentives, changes who they have to be in front of the camera and in the press during election time. So having more positive campaigns where they have to earn your vote, and if they can't earn your first vote, your first choice, they want to be your second, third, or fourth. That I think will be a really dramatic shift. And what we've seen in places like New York City, like Alaska, Massachusetts, the list goes on, is that does seem to bear out in practice.
It feels like it's an uphill battle in Arizona, because I've heard a lot in the last primary couple, in Tempe, the one we just had,
Mm.
where people are always saying we have to pick the lesser of two evils. That is not a way to get policy done,
Yeah.
because there are people who can be in a position for years. Like, we can look at Congress and see that,
Yeah.
both Senate and the House.
Yep.
and then people are not working to the best interest of their constituents.
Right.
And so to change
But they
that,
continue to get voted in and voted in and
Yeah.
voted in for
Yeah.
40, 50 years.
well, part of that is people are afraid of change.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
But also you have to have a candidate that is really willing to just kind of go out there and go against an incumbent who isn't doing what's in the best interest of their constituents. And you could see that having a primary where an incumbent is primary who usually isn't, I mean, that was it. That can cause a lot of concerns. They start drawing the line within the party
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
about who's better and why. And I think you're right. It could be positive, but I don't know how you balance that with people who want change and people who don't.
Sure. Well, I guess the beauty of democracy is that we all have different opinions, and we kind of have to battle it out through the process. I do think moving towards a system with like a Final Five system where we have, instead of decisions being made in the primary, decisions are all made in the general election with more competition. We may have 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and a third party candidate, no labels green or whoever. And that gives voters more choice. And then that means candidates have to be more accountable. They really have to earn those votes.
So we're here with Kazz Fernandes of Voter Choice Arizona. We're going to come back with another episode, but please tell us how people can get a hold of or find out more information about Voter Choice Arizona.
So they can go to vcaz.org or voterchoicearizona.org, and you can read a little bit more about us on our Learn page. Check out some recent blog posts where I talk about the results of the hot wing competition and the banana pudding competition. They were pretty interesting as far as food competitions go. And if you're interested, you can volunteer and help us make this change become a reality.
So learn more about ranked choice voting, and we're the Around the Districts podcast. You can share, like, follow, and comment, and we will see you on the next episode.